Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. On behalf of GDG Jalandhar, I welcome you all. My name is Rijraj, and I'm Google Developer Expert for Web Technology and Firebase, and also I'm one of the organizer for GDG Jalandhar. And yeah, I'll welcome you to TechDrill, which is an initiative by the GDG WTM Jalandhar as a community. And basically, we are providing a 7 days training on the various technologies like Android, PWA, Firebase, Flutter, and many more things. And these session will be on the second and the fourth week of every month. And yeah, to check out more information about the TechDrill initiative, you can check out the links techdrill.gdgjalandhar.com. And yeah, you can also join our community GDG Jalandhar. You just need to go to the website gdg.community.dev/gdg-jalandhar. And yeah, before moving to the workshop on the Flutter intermediate to advanced level, so we have a code of conduct. You have to follow these code of conduct. So first one is be respectful, nice, and constructive while you are communicating in the live chat or the Google Meet chat on social media platform. And do not post in anything if they are related to adult content or rude or offensive statement. And do not advertise or promote anything during the session, and do not spam. If you have any doubt, you can ask your question in the live, like Google Meet chat, and our speakers or mentors will share the answer. And the five, like harassment of any kind of is not tolerated in this particular event. And if you are facing any issues, you can reach out to us at gdgjalandhar@gmail.com. And yeah, we have a Discord channel for the Flutter 2 initiative. So if you have a doubt, any questions or confusion during the 7 day, so you can join the Discord server, which is basically a link bit.ly/gdgjalandhar-discord. And we have a channel Flutter 2. Here you can reach out to our mentor Yash Pathak and you can ask your questions. And at the day of the day 7, you will be assigned a task, and then you need to complete the particular task or a project, and then we will give you the certificate of the completion for this entire 7 days tech drill on Flutter. So yeah, without much delay, so I'll invite Yash Pathak. He's my one of the best friend, and he's good in Flutter enthusiast, and he's working on mobile app development. So he's going to talk about Flutter 2. Basically, it's an intermediate to advanced track. So without much ado, so over to you, Yash.
Hi everybody, how is everybody doing? Yeah, let me just. Am I visible right now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you so much for the introduction, and I welcome you all to Flutter 2 again. I see many similar people, many similar faces here who joined me previously for Flutter 1, the first tech drill which happened. And it's really nice to see new people as well. And yeah, so since this is a intermediate to advanced course, so we'll be moving in the same order like where we left previously, and we'll be proceeding in that way only. Okay, I hope you people practiced better after the first tech drill ended, and some people have even submitted the projects, and the projects are really awesome. And I really appreciate the efforts put in by all the people and all those who have joined up again for this one. Okay, so let me just share my screen for the presentation. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Bhavni, it's totally all right. Today will be the first day, and I'll be again reverting back and revising all of the things which we studied in the first tech drill. So, Bhavni, you can stay rest assured, and you just have to be a little more, absorb it today. You should be able to absorb things in a much precise manner today, so that it will be easier for you to as the days proceed, right? And I will also share the resources, Pavni. So if you want, you can go through them, and from the second day onwards, you'll be good to go. All right. So you have to be a little bit, good with the absorption skills today. All right. So no, not an issue if you're joining up for the first time. Today will be just the revision part. So I'll be again going from the basic. All right. Okay. Cool. So yeah, so my name is Yash, and I have been part of GG Jalandhar from the past 3 years. It's going to be the 4th one this year. So I have taken multiple sessions of Flutter and Firebase, and I have been working in Flutter from the early 2017s. So you can just stay rest assured about what I teach or what I let you know about. All right. So yeah. So before further ado, let's dive in. So this will be the schedule of the drill. Today is the first day, and it will be a 7-day process. First day will be about the revision, like what we have studied and what's going to be next. And we'll also discuss the projects made by the people, the attendees who were there last time. On the second day, we'll be dealing with the advanced concepts in the language Dart, Dart, the language in which Flutter is written in. All right. And on the third day, we'll be dealing with data and HTTP requests and calling up data from the internet and using different APIs to fulfill our needs. All right. And on the fourth day, we'll be dealing with the local database storage. In Flutter's case, it's SQLite. There are also other databases available. We'll be dealing with SQLite precisely. On the fifth day, I'll be dealing with the state management. I'll let you know what state management in Flutter is and what RX start is and how do you manage states. Okay. And on the sixth day, we'll be demoing this application. This will be a TV series app or a movie app. Okay, so we'll be making this in a sequential manner, in a gradual process. Okay, from the first day itself, you'll be learning concepts, and then at the end of the 7th day, you'll be able to create something similar to this user interface, like it's showing Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse movie, and you'll be able to make this entirely. And on the 7th day, we'll wrap all the things up, and we'll proceed like what to do next and what are the next steps required after you are done with the advanced course. Okay. Okay. Sure, Gopi Krishna, not an issue. Today will be entirely a revision kind of thing. All right. Okay, so for today's drill, we have we'll discuss what Flutter is and how to install Flutter and what start, how to create the first application, how to create widgets, what are the type of widgets, and what are stateful and stateless and stateful widgets. Don't mind the spelling there. I'll also discuss what PubSec is, what PubDev is, and how you can start with projects and what is the documentation available. So for the first part, what's Flutter? Okay, so Flutter is nothing. It's just a simple framework, a simple SDK. And what SDK is a software development kit. All right. So I'll just project my screen. Can you tell me what kind of Ananya is asking? Can you tell what kind of an app would be able to make during this week? Yes, Ananya. For this week, we have under our scope is a television app, a TV series application like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu TV. Okay. So we'll be making a similar application at the end of the 4 days, 7 days. And after that, you'll be able to, customize it in your way possible. Okay. Am I clear? Okay, cool. So you can just stream your own content. If you have any videos, you can stream them. If you have multiple seasons stored of Friends or The Big Bang Theory, then you can put them somewhere on a storage bucket and you can just stream them right there from there itself. Okay, and you can share them with your friends. So that's what we'll be dealing with. I'm just going to present my entire screen. All right. Okay. Okay, so what Flutter is? So Flutter is a UI toolkit. It's an SDK which allows you to create applications for multiple platforms. You just have to write your code once, and the same application runs on all the platforms. Okay, So if I write my code for Android device, it is subjected to work on an iOS device as well, on a desktop app, whether it's a Unix, Linux-based desktop, or Windows-based desktop, or a Macintosh-based desktop. Okay. So Flutter deals with the concept that you write your code once, and that code will be runnable on all the platforms available. So that's what Flutter is, and it has multiple features available. Like it's very fast. Okay. And it deals with the concept that UI as a code. You need not to create those XML files anymore. Whatever you will create by writing code for that. If you want to create a button, you write code for that. And if you want to emphasize the widget, that particular button is a widget, so you can do with the code itself. Okay. So in Flutter, we have things called widgets. Okay. What are widgets? Widgets are everything you see: an app bar, text button, an image, an icon. So these all the things are widgets. Okay. So coming back to our presentation, so what is Flutter? I hope it's clear what Flutter is. All right. So with Flutter, you can create seamless applications. Like Google is already switching a lot of its applications towards Flutter. You might have used Google Pay, the Indian UPI-based payment gateway. That's entirely has been switched to Flutter, and the Google Stadia application has also been switched to. There are multiple, like 5 to 10 applications which Google has pushed into Flutter. Okay, they have entirely revamped it, and you can see how what amount of data Google Pay deals with every day. It deals with millions of users and with the least possible crashes. So Flutter is a good option. Google is backing it up perfectly, and if Google is trusting upon it, Google is the biggest service provider in the world. Without Google, you cannot imagine a single day of your life, right? So yeah, so if it's trusting it, then it should be something, right? So Flutter is entirely shippable from Google's end. Google totally trusts this. All right. So now let's. I hope I make myself clear about the first point, like what Flutter is. Okay. Do we have any questions? Yeah. Oh, cool. All right, Rajiv. So let's come to the second part, how to install Flutter. So to install Flutter, you have to go to this URL, flutter.dev. Okay. And then you just click here on this big blue button, get started. You go right over here and you'll see on, like, you have to select on what platform you're developing right now, whether it's Windows, Mac OS, Linux, or Chrome OS. So let's say in my case, it's Mac OS. So I'll just proceed towards here. And I'll check whether I have the required system requirements or not. Then I'll download this zip file and I'll unzip it and I'll add it to my environment path, the path towards my Flutter SDK path. All right. Then we have a command called Flutter Doctor, which lets us know that what's right and what's not right. Just like a doctor lets you know about your health, similarly, Flutter Doctor command tells you about the Flutter installation and all the requirements are fulfilled or not. Okay. So that's how you uh, install Flutter, and you have make sure you update the path, and you're good to go. Okay, when you are done installing this, then you have to go with the installation of Android Studio if you are going to create applications for Android, and if you're going to create applications for iOS, for Apple phones as well, then you have to install Xcode. So in case of Windows, you cannot create iOS application because Xcode is a requirement, and Xcode is only available on Mac OS. All right. So if you're on Windows, then you can develop for Android phones. But sky is the limit. If you want to create something, then tools are not, they are not much to be focused upon. So you can proceed with whatever you have and just start building. Okay, so Flutter also comes up with the web support as well. If you want to create web applications, if you want to create your own portfolio, you can just make it online and just publish it in form of any other web application. All right. So that's how you get started with Flutter. That's how you install Flutter and you start developing on it. All right. Let me just join this meeting on my Windows PC so that we are all on the same page. Okay. Cool. I hope you all are safe under the recent surge of COVID-19. I hope you all are practicing all the cautions. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. I actually checked out you people made a lot of projects, and I really love those projects. So some people share their link, but those links were not accessible. I requested access for that. Anyway, I'm going to present now. Okay, so now my screen should be visible from my other account. So I'm on a Windows computer right now. And this thing right here, it's called emulator. For the newbies who have joined us today, this thing is an emulator. It's nothing. It's a virtual machine running on my Windows hardware, on my hardware inside my Windows operating system. Okay, so Android is nothing. It's an Linux-based operating system which runs for phones. Okay, it's optimized for phone processing. It uses multiple libraries which are used in microkernel-based operating systems. So it is easily able to manage micro softwares which we know micro processes. Okay, all right. I'll just stop presenting my screen. Okay, so So now we are done what Flutter is, and we are done how to install Flutter. Now we will just see what. Okay. So this tool here is it's a bash window. Okay, it's a terminal. It can be PowerShell. It can be any other shell. It can be ZSH. It can be Fish, whatever you use for your usability purpose. Okay. So like we said, Flutter Doctor lets us know whether everything is working fine or not. Okay, so I'll just type here Flutter Doctor, and it will let me know what's fine, what's not. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, it should be visible now, right? Is it visible, Ailesh? Okay. Okay. So like you can see, I ran this command Flutter Doctor. Okay, and it is showing me all the summary. And I'm on currently Flutter channels table. So Flutter has multiple channels. If you type Flutter channel here, it will tell you how many how many channel Flutter has. Okay, so I'm on a stable channel, so it contains all the things which are working perfectly fine in case of Flutter. And there's a beta channel as well, so people develop things and try things. So the developers at Google or developers at Flutter try things out and add new features here. So there's a dev channel as well for developers who are working and creating changes, and there's a master channel as well. All right. So these are our channels, and if you want to try new features like which just got launched yesterday itself, then you can just switch to beta and test and try those features. So there's a log available for every channel, and you can read them on their official GitHub account. Okay, on the official GitHub account. All right. So this I'll just clear everything up. I'll write Flutter Doctor again. So Flutter Doctor will give me summary that I'm on a Flutter stable channel, and I have Android SDK available, and the version of my Android SDK is 30.0.3. And I also have Chrome installed, so I can develop my Flutter application for web as well. I have Android Studio installed, so I can obviously make Android apps. I have VS Code installed, so VS Code is a text editor. It's an entire environment which allows you to create application for almost anything in this world, from assembly language, from Fortran to R to Swift to whatever language you are dealing with. Okay, whether it's Jupyter Notebook, whatever. So yeah, and I also have a device connected, and I have 4 devices available as of now. It's showing. Cool. So if I want to check how many devices I have and what are those devices, right? So I will just type here Flutter devices. So it will show me like these are all the devices I have. So first one is a mobile, which I connected. And this mobile is actually nothing. It's a BlueStacks emulator. Are you guys aware about BlueStacks? Okay, so BlueStacks is a software which allows you to run and play Android games on your PC. All right. So I have it installed here. This one. Okay. So this is running on Android 7, and then I have emulator running, and an emulator is running on Android 10 API level 29. Then I have Chrome installed. So Chrome is also a device on which I can run my Flutter application. So Flutter treats Chrome as a device as well. Similarly, I have Windows, so I have Microsoft Edge installed. Microsoft Edge is an in-house browser for Windows. Microsoft ships it with the Windows operating system. So I have 4 devices available likewise. I hope it's clear. So yeah, so that's how you write Flutter Doctor, and you can check how many devices you have, and you make sure you have all the check marks whenever you are done installing Flutter on your operating system. Okay. So yeah. So one thing is this terminal. Second thing is this emulator, and third thing is we need to write code on. So we write code on a editor, right? So for that we have Visual Studio Code, and if you want to use Android Studio, you can use Android Studio as well. I personally prefer Visual Studio Code because the richness, the fastness, and the less load it imparts on my RAM. Also, it has many extensions available which make your task much easier. All right. So I will just go to Start and I'll search for code. So this is my Visual Studio Code. Okay. First, I will close this folder. Okay, cool. So now I want to create my Flutter application. So I will hit the key combination Control-Shift-P. This will open up my command palette. Okay. So Control-Shift-P. And now I have multiple options available, right? So there's an option called Flutter New Application Project. Now, if it's not available for you, then you have to make sure that you have installed the Flutter plugin from the Android Studio. So go to Android Studio. Okay. So you have to go right here and you can just click on plugins and you can search Flutter here and make sure it's installed. Okay. If you are developing with Android Studio, and if you're developing with VS Code, then you have this icon available here. This allows you to download extensions from the server of VS Code. Okay. So you have to search for Flutter and you have to make sure that it's installed in your case, right? So in my case, it's installed. Therefore, I'm being shown this uninstall icon. All right. Cool. So when you have two things available, you have to hit Command-Shift-P again, and you will see this option, Flutter New Application Project. So, or you can type Flutter here, colon, then you have all the commands available from Flutter. Okay. So yeah, so we want to create a new Flutter project. So I'll just click on this first option. And where I want to create this on my desktop. Okay. And I want to name this folder as test. Okay. Let it be blank. Okay. I'll just create it here itself. It will create the folder for me. All right. So now I want to name my application. So what should I name it? So let's name it India. Okay. Now you can see there's a flutter.create file. It appears for like 1 to 2 seconds. Okay. So this flutter.create actually consists all the scripts which are required to create your first application. Okay. And it just vanishes in about an interval of 1 to 2 seconds. So this flutter.create file actually contains all the scripts which are just putting all the code together onto this one single directory, which I just created. So if I go to desktop, there is an India folder available. Okay. So this contains all my files. So these files entirely contain the code of my application. Okay. Now it's open here in my VS Code. Okay. So now let's just understand what are these folders and what are these files. Okay. So this .dart tool file folder, it actually contains the configurations of our Dart VM. Okay, so whenever you are running something, a Dart VM is something on which your Flutter code is being executed and given out to your operating system. And in our case, the operating system here is Windows, and then we are writing this code and imparting it on our device. So in our case, the device is this emulator. Okay, so I'll just keep them side by side so you can notice everything. Okay, you can see in this corner I have the device. Here is where your device name is shown. So currently VS Code is perfectly connected with my Pixel 4 XL API 29 device, which is right here. Okay, cool. And Flutter 2.0 this just shows on what version of Flutter I'm working on. Dart DevTools allows you to, yeah, Gopi Krishna, see, Gopi Krishna is asking why is iOS folder created here in case of Windows? Yeah, that the thing is SDK allows you to create for all the three platforms. You can see there's Android created, there's iOS created, there's also web created. Okay, so technically what will happen, this what to say, this first app which you have created right now, in our case it's a basic app which Flutter ships itself. So this is a basic counter app which allows you to modify the count. So Flutter does come with the basic modules and the Swift code available for you to changes. Yeah, for to make changes. So if you go inside, you will see this runner.xcode project file, runner.xc workspace file, and you cannot make changes to this. Okay, you cannot make changes because you don't have the required SDK, and that SDK is shipped with Xcode, and Xcode is installed on Mac devices, on Macintosh computers. Okay, how to send iOS app to other. Bhaumik, actually what happens is when you develop iOS application, it is not very easy to share iOS apps easily, because in case of Android, you can simply share APK files, right? But in case of iOS, we generate IPA files, okay? And those IPA files, you cannot share them directly. You have to put those IPA files under testing, and then you have to share them using test flight. So Apple has its own secure infrastructure, and which is actually very hard to share IPA files normally, because IPA files, if you want to install an IPA file on a normal device, you cannot install. For that, you need to jailbreak your iOS device. Okay. If anyone is iOS user here, they probably are aware about what jailbreaking in iOS is. So it's like rooting your phone, or just in case of Android, you root your phone, your warranty and guarantee, like everything vanishes away. Similarly, in case of iOS, if you jailbreak your iPhone, then all the services which Apple provides you under your warranty, so they are destroyed as well. So make sure if you have an iOS device, try to avoid jailbreaking it, because it's not right for you. Okay. Anyways, if you jailbreak your iOS phone, then you are subjected to a lot more risks which come on the security side as well. So yeah. So in case of IPA files, that is for iOS devices, you first have to you first have to make sure that you have a particular Apple developer account. And if you have an Apple developer account, then you can just share that IPA on your test flight. So test flight is a service which allows you to distribute applications on valid iOS devices. Okay, Pavni, you typed Flutter Doctor, but it's showing like command not found. This is because you might have not defined the path. So for defining path, you have to just go inside your. Actually, I have a video. It's in the Discord server, and yeah, I'll actually you can revert to Discord server, and you can find the video to exactly install Flutter without any error. Okay, Pavni. There's a Discord server available. There's a video right there. Okay. Anyways, let's just come to the directory structure which we were discussing. So first we have .dartool folder, which contains all the configurations. Okay, like what I'm using, what package is already there, right? Like we have Flutter test, we have Flutter async, we have Cupertino icons. So all these configurations are being shown inside this .dartool directory. All right. Then we have the .idea. Like you might be aware about IntelliJ IDEA, right? So most of the IDEs today are based on IntelliJ IDEA. So these are just the files your IDE is creating. This is not related to Flutter at all. Okay. Then we have an Android folder. Android folder Android folder actually contains your Android application code. Okay, Android application code. What I mean by that is it contains the native code written in Kotlin or Swift. So if you want to customize something, you want native code to be put under use, then you can go inside this. You can type your Java based code here or your Kotlin based code here. Okay, here you don't have a main activity.java file, but you can create it obviously. Here you have your main activity.kt file. All right. So you can make changes in either of them based upon the language you want to use for writing native code. So for writing native code, we have two languages, Java and Kotlin. All right. So this RES folder contains the icons, icons of our application. So if I install an application, you will see this icon right there. So this contains icons of different size, HDPI, MDPI, XHDPI. So these all vary in sizes. This is larger, this will be much smaller, this will be much smaller. Likewise. This is the Android manifest file. It contains all the properties, right? This contains my Android label, which is a name, and all the other thing. Like if I want to add a splash screen, then I can add it from here, or I can use any package. All right, cool. Now, yeah, this is the Gradle. Gradle actually is what manages your Android project. Okay, cool. And build a Gradle file. It contains the dependencies, and if you want to add some plugin, and those plugins require some specific permission or indexing, then you can add it here. Okay, so yeah, then we have Gradle properties, which defines like what properties this Gradle has to include while considering this project. Okay, and this is the batch file of Gradle, which runs the, I mean, it's a script which runs up whenever you shoot something towards Gradle. Okay, okay, and these are IML files. These are configuration files again. They contain, like, if you want to write some specific code. So when you want to write platform specific code, that means you want to write code for Java, you want to write code for Kotlin, but you want to use it with Flutter. Then this thing of writing is called platform channeler or method channeling. Okay, because you're writing native code, and that native code has to be implemented in your Flutter code. So you have to create a channel between those two, between Flutter and your native code. So you can do this by writing platform via platform channeling or method channeling. Okay. So let's come out of Android directory and open iOS directory. So inside iOS, you have the files required for iOS development. Okay. So this contains the framework info. This is a debug config. Okay. And this contains all the environment export required for your iOS project. These are generated by default when you create. Okay, and release. So what happens is when you are developing an application, there are multiple states of application. Okay, first one is debug, second one is generated, or third one is released. Likewise, in case of iOS, it has a different hierarchy. So when I share an APK with someone, I'm actually sharing a release APK. Okay, and when I'm running my application inside this emulator or my phone, I'm actually running my debug application. Yeah, that is debug APK. Okay, so these are the few differences. And runner actually is what iOS entirely deals with. So when you are going to create your iOS application, so you have to open this iOS directory entirely in your Xcode, and inside that it will work entirely like a normal iOS application. Similarly, if you open this Android folder inside Android Studio, so Android Studio will entirely treat it as an Android application, a full-fledged Android application. You can make changes right here. Okay, so we are done with Android, we are done with iOS, and then we'll come to lib folder. So lib folder is actually the library, or the entire library where our application's code stays. Okay, so main.dart is a file. So like any other language, if you have worked with C, C++, so they have this main function, right? So the main function is actually the main function is the actually which injects your code into the compiler, like auto transpiler, or like always whenever any framework, it always try to search for a main function. So wherever you write your main function, that's where your application starts extending itself. So main function is very important. So you can see here it is a main function, and inside main we have a run app. So run app is projecting us to a widget, and here is our my app. Okay, this widget, my app, and it's a stateless widget. So we'll discuss what's a different type of widgets we have in Flutter, right? So this is a lib. So whatever you write, you can create thousands of Dart files inside this, and you can go on with it like the way you want. So make sure whenever you are creating files, it's a good practice to maintain a modularity in files. Okay. So let's say if I want to create views, what are views? So let's say home page is a view, settings page is a view. Okay. My profile page is a view. So whenever you are creating views, then make sure you create them in the same folder. Okay. So you can name them views, or you can name them as screens. Okay. Okay. So I personally like them to be views. So inside views, if I want to create a home page, then I'll create home underscore page dot dart. So yeah, it's also a good convention to rewrite your text or the names of files in snake case. So what are snake case? Snake case are name. It's a naming convention in which you write two different words separated by a underscore. So if I write a long word, you can see what I mean by snake case, right? So you should always add underscores between words. So this is a good practice because when you're going to build a production level application in Flutter, so you are going to deal with 500 to 600 Dart files, right? Depending upon the complexity, I'm talking about the most complex project here. So yeah, so in that case, it is actually easy to read when you have underscores present instead of dot or instead of camel case. So when you're naming files, make sure that you have it written in this manner. So it's just a good practice. Okay. So yeah, absolutely, Varun, you can use. No, make sure you don't use something which is already written. See, I will not write here home page underscore view because view is already understood by the folder, the hierarchy which I'm in right now. So actually, you know what people do take whenever they join a big company, right? And they are being flushed into the development environment. So they are first of all projected into a practice session. So that practice session can be a documentation or a simple 2 hour Google Meet call. So there, they just tell you what are the naming conventions we have to use, what are the tabbing system, because some companies use tabs equal to 4 spaces and some companies use tab is equal to 7 or 8 spaces. Okay, so these are few conventions and company defines it by themselves. Okay, it actually just increases readability for all the people and creates a constant infrastructure. So one thing should be avoided in any case is the redundancy. Okay, so if I create home underscore screen inside my screens folder, so it does not make any sense because I am already inside screen, and writing an extra screen is just taking my concentration away from the main part, right? So it's not a good practice to actually write something again and again which is absolutely obvious. Okay, so yeah, so likewise, you can create multiple folders inside lib. I'll create views here, and if I want to add any services, let's say I want to add car tracking. So car tracking is something which is a service, right? So I will just go inside my lib, and I will just create another folder. I'll write here services. Okay. So you can see my folders here in the VS Code are colored perfectly. If I'm writing iOS, it is showing iOS here. So actually this is happening because of an extension I'm using and it's called material icon. Okay. So you can just download material icon from your VS Code. It actually allows you to look at things in a better manner, and it is much easier to concentrate on what you want to concentrate, right? All right. So this is lib folder, and this is test folder. Test folder actually contains testing part of the application. So when you're going to test application, you want to do widget testing, you want to do particular feature to be tested, then you can absolutely try testing. So we'll also go inside this under the course. Okay. So this is the testing part, and web actually contains the code of Flutter web. Okay, so we discussed that it has Android folder, it has iOS folder, it also has a web folder. So inside web, you can see it contains the icons. Okay, it contains the favicon image. Favicon image is something which is shown on the top of your tab, right? So that's the favicon. And index.html is the basic page which contains the code of our Flutter, what code we write in Flutter. And you can see the script here is running is main.dart.js. Okay. So what's happening currently is my Dart code is getting converted into JS code. Okay. So this particular process, when you convert one code into another language code, this is called transpilation. Okay. So Flutter is very good with transpilation. Transpilation just allows us to write code from one language, convert it to another one, right? So that's what transpilation is, and Flutter is very good at transpiling itself into JS. So that's why JS support is really awesome. Okay, similarly, transpilation happens for Swift code and for Java code or Kotlin code in case of Flutter, right? Then we have a manifesto.json file which just contains the path to our icons and description, the background color, the theme color, and the name of our project and orientation, right? Cool. Now git ignore file. Git ignore file is actually a version control based associated to our version control part. So what happens is if you look at the size of this entire Flutter folder right now, okay, I'll just go right here and I'll go over India and I'll just see the size. Okay, so the size is particularly low right now. Okay, I want you to monitor this. You should note that right now it's 193 KB. All right. After we are done discussing, I'll let you know like what is changing here. Metadata actually contains, this is a self-generated file. It contains particular MD5 hash, which allows us to keep track of revisions and versions. Okay. Dot packages actually contains the packages which we are using within our Flutter framework. And IML file is again information based file which allows me like whether what I'm using, Dart plugin is installed, Dart packages I'm using, right? So it's a module root manager. And then we have pubsec.log file. Pubsec.log file actually keeps track of everything. So let's say in Flutter, I'm using a sync Boolean selector. So what is the URL and what is the exact version? So yeah, so whenever you add some package, so this is pubsec.yaml file, right? This actually allows us to download packages from the internet. So whenever you update your package.yaml file, this package.log file also gets updated. So if you're working in a team of 2-3 developers, right, and other developer is facing some kind of issue, and the third developer is not facing any issue, so you can just check your pubsec.log file. It just allows you like what has been changed and which version has been tampered with. Okay, so you can just so it's a good thing that you never edit this because it's totally generated based upon the updates you notice in .yaml file. Okay, that is pubsec.yaml. And readme.md, yeah, pubsec.yaml is an important file and it's very useful, absolutely, because this actually contains all the packages you want to use, right? If you, let's say you want to use an OTP service or an OTP package which just allows you to give those keyboard 6 boxes to fill up the OTP code, then you can download it entirely. Okay, and readme.file is actually like tells you what your application is about. Okay, whenever you open GitHub, you see a lot of readme files. GitHub now allows you to customize your readme files and show them in your profile. So readme files are the markdown files which allows you to give information about the project, like what this project is about. So this is a new Flutter project, etc., etc. Right. So coming back to our presentation. Okay. So we discussed what Flutter is and how to install Flutter, and we also understood like what Dart is. Okay. So just create a new tab. So what happens is when you deal with Flutter, you deal with a language called Dart. So Dart was first introduced in 2011 into one of the conferences, and it was made public like to be used with Flutter in 2015. Okay, so when Flutter was launched, Flutter was entirely being worked up with Dart. Okay, so Dart is a language with which you can create beautiful UI. It has C-like syntax, so you need not to learn anything. To be honest, so you already know how to write things in Dart if you already have worked with languages like C, Java. I'll just simply write here hello world and I'll put okay. Okay, so this is not going to run. Why is it not going to run? Can anybody tell me? Because I don't have a main function. Okay, if I try to, so first thing I need to do is I need a main function. So this is our main function, right? So if I just remove this and I remove this and I type here world, so this is our main function, right? So if I just remove this and I remove this and I type here world, so this is our main function, right? So if I just remove this and I remove this and I type here world, so this is our main function, right? So if I just remove this and I remove this and I type here world, so this is our main function, right? So if I just remove this and I remove this and I type here world, so this is our main function, right? So if I just remove this and I remove this and I type here world, so this is our main function, right? So if I just remove this and I remove this and I type here world, so this is our main function, right? So if I just remove this and I remove this and I type here world, so this is our main function, right? So if I just remove this and I remove this and I type here world, so this is our main function, right? So if I just remove this and I remove this and I type here world, so this is our main function, right? So if I just remove this and I remove this and I type here world, so this is our main function, right? So if I just remove this and I remove this and I type here world, so this is our main function, right? So if I just remove this and I remove this and I type here world, so this is our main function, right? So if I just remove this and I remove this and I type here world, so this is our main function, right? So if I just remove this and I remove this and I type here world, so So it just prints hello world for me. So make sure whenever you create a Dart file, it should always have a main function, because main function is what your SDK looks at. Okay. If you don't have a main function, then it will just get lost. Okay. It will not able to identify what to do, what to not. So Flutter 2, like recently in March, the starting days of March, Flutter upgraded a lot of things. Okay. First of all, it switched to Flutter 2, that is Flutter 2.0 XX version. Okay. And also Dart SDK has also been updated. Okay. So there's a thing called null safety. You can see I have disabled it right here, because null safety actually deals, what happens is when you're dealing and creating applications, so there are many errors you are not able to notice, and even your debug console will not let you know like what's happening and what's not happening. Okay. So to avoid that pain which developers were going through, Flutter has introduced null safety. Okay. So null safety just makes sure that those edge cases which you are not able to handle are handled, because null errors are one of the few errors which are which become pain for developers while developing application, whether it's the case of JavaScript or any other language. So similarly, Flutter did not have null safety previously. People were using it, but it was not official as that point of time, right? So Flutter and Dart absolutely made them to be totally null safe, so that there are no exceptions or there are no errors from the null part of the code, right, when you're receiving nulls. Okay. So this is Dartpad, dartpad.dev. This website allows you to play with Dart, to create things with Dart. All right. So let's say I want to create. So yeah, this is how you create a loop in Dart, right? You, like in C, you define int I, and then you want it to be, you want it to be running for 5 times, and you want to print it. So if you are going to run it, then it will show you 5 times. So Dart is a very simple language. Even if you just look at the documentation for like 1 to 2 hours, you'll be able to learn it perfectly. It is very human-like and it is very easy to go with, right? So yeah. So it's better to learn one single language and develop in 5 platforms instead of learning 5 different languages and creating in 5 platforms. What's better? To learn one language, which is okay to work on 5 platforms, right? So it's a win-win deal for all the developers, that you just read to know, write your code once, and it works for all the platforms. Okay, so we now understood what Dart is. Now we are going to create our first application. So to create a first application, like I told you, you have to press Command Shift P, and the project will get created for you. Now you have to run this application, right? So I'll keep it side by side with my emulator and my VS Code. Okay. Now I will go inside here and run and debug. I'll run and debug it, okay? And now I'll select what is the environment I want to run this in. So I'll select Dart and Flutter. So Flutter is letting me know that a new version of Flutter is available, but I'm not going to update it as of now. We'll update it afterwards. So the first time when you're building your application, this part is called building APK. Okay. So you can see it is running the Gradle task. Like we dealt with these files right inside Gradle. So Gradle has multiple tasks assigned to it. So slowly one they get executed, and that APK gets ready into bundled APK, and then that APK is subjected to the device. Okay. So now you can see it is showing me installing build APK app.apk. And this will open up a Chrome window. This Chrome window actually allows you to, these are tools which allows you to monitor your applications, buttons, widgets, likewise. Okay. So I will show this too. Okay. Now this is the basic application. All right. Now it has run. Now let's see. So like previously I showed you that the size of this folder was 193 KB, right? And now you can see the size of this folder has become 433 MB, around half a GB, right? So why did this happen? Okay, so this happens because when you're running, okay, So Flutter framework calls in a lot of internal files from its Flutter framework side, right? And it just stores them temporarily inside your project's code. Okay, it copies them and stores them inside your folder for easy accessibility, so that the application is able to run fast. Okay, so you can see. So now I wanted to tell you like what git ignore is. So git ignore actually, now imagine that you want to upload this code onto your GitHub. So how hard will it be for you to upload 433 MB of data? It's totally stupid to actually push that amount of data to your GitHub, right? So that's what git ignore file is for. Okay, let's say you don't want a particular image of JPG format to be uploaded onto your GitHub account. So all you have to do is to add here star.jpg. So when you add it here, actually don't put them here. Yeah, so I want to put them here. So now what will happen is whenever I'll push this code on my GitHub, any file which deals with the extension .jpg will not get updated or uploaded onto my GitHub. Okay. So this is why .getignore file is very important and it should be always taken care. So when you're building your APK are stored inside. Now you can see there is another folder called build. This wasn't present previously. This just got created right now. This build folder actually contains all the required things, right? Okay. So when you go inside this build folder, you go inside app, you go inside generated, you go inside res. So this contains all the assets, right? Now you go inside outputs, you will see there are 3 folders: APK, Flutter APK, and logs. So inside this Flutter APK, this is the application right now, app-debug.apk, which is running in this emulator. Okay. So I don't want this 20 MB thing to be uploaded on my GitHub. So that's why it's already added inside my git ignore that I don't want this to be updated. So technically what will happen whenever I'll push this code on GitHub, only 2-3 MB amount of data will be sent. The rest of the data will be staying inside my application. So that's the use of .getignore file in version controlling. Okay. So yeah, so this is our application, and now we'll go to our main.dart file. Okay. So yeah, this is first of all what happens is, yeah. So how this application works is I will tap on this, and the count will get updated. Okay. So that's how you run your application. Now, if I want to create a new application from scratch, I will just remove all of the code. I will import my material library. Okay. And like any Dart file or any Dart program, you first need to create a main function. So I create a main function and I want to subject this to a particular widget, right? So I create my app here. Okay. And I add semicolon. So if you want, you can just if you have attended previous TechDrill, then you might be aware that you can simply type material app here and project is right there, right? So as of now, let's create my app and I want it to be stateless. So that's one of the good thing that these IDEs like Android Studio and VS Code, they provide us with some acronym based some annotations which allows you to make our task faster. So whenever I'll type STL and I tap on this stateless widget, it will give me the entire boilerplate code required for generating a stateless widget. So it's a good thing. So I'll just name it as my app. Okay. Cool. Now I want to return a material app. And I need a home. And let's say I need a test home. I'll come down, I'll create a stateless widget called test home. Okay. And this will be a scaffold. So scaffold is something, it's like a basic infrastructure on which your application is built upon. The main superset of every visual elements which are present on your device, right? So this is like the map to your entire UI. Okay. So this contains app bar, and you create an app bar, and you add a title, and title requires a widget, and that's a text widget, and I'll write hi. Okay. So let's save this. Yeah. So this is a new application which we built, or we can you can see I wrote them and I saw the changes in absolutely no time. So let's say I want to change the background color, and I want this to be colors.black, and I'll hit Control S. So yeah, you can see it instantly changes. So that's how fast it is. Okay. And this fastness is entirely achieved because of the frameworks copying files from its own directory and then allowing us to use to increase our speed, right? Yeah. So am I going too fast, or am I entirely useless? Especially for the newbies who joined up today, was this session made some impact? Like, was it useful to you, all those people who joined? All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the kind words of appreciation. Anyways, I will just go now to our slide. So yeah, we are done with the fourth point, like how to create our first application. Now we are also done with the part like how to create widgets. So you can see I created a widget here. This thing is called a widget. Okay, this is a stateless widget. So widgets are nothing. These are simply the classes. Okay, class. You know what a class in object oriented concepts. Okay. Cool. So class is like you create something and you want this code to be reused again and again, and you want some things to be abstracted or extended. Okay. So for that purpose, we create class. Okay. So an example of class will be previously I gave an example. Like in Holi, we make gujiyas, right? So the gujia maker part, the plastic wala thing with which you make gujiyas, that's the class. Okay. And the gujia generated is called the object of the class. All right. Am I making myself clear? I think most of the people are from India. Is there anyone who is outside from India? Okay, John, I think he's from different countries. So John, I hope you are aware with the OOPS concepts. So yeah, so widget is nothing. These are simply the classes, and these extend each other. So let's say I created a class, and it's extending another class, which is a stateless widget class. Okay. Similarly, there is another kind of widget available in Flutter. These are called stateful widgets. So if you type STF, STF will allow you to create a stateful widget. Okay, let's name this M&M. Okay, so this is my stateful class. Okay, so let me just show you the example of the two cases. Okay, yeah. Okay, so you can see this thing when I tap on this button, right? This 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers get updated. These and this Flutter homepage or this icon do not get changed, right? So why is this happening? Because these all are stateless widgets, and this thing right here, this number being updated, it's a stateful widget. So if I look inside my code and I particularly want to go onto this 10, like here I'll tell you like how to use dev tools. Okay. So I told you like when you start your application, there is a Chrome window which opens up every time. Okay, and if it's not opening up, you have to enable it from your console, right? So yeah, you can see this is the Chrome window which opens up. Okay, this just tells me that this is my root application. Inside my root application, there is a widget my app, and that my app contains a child, let's say a home, and that home is a material app. And material app, we have a home page. Inside home page, we have a scaffold. In scaffold, we have a center column text, app bar text, loading action button. Okay, now I want to go on this text, and I don't want to search inside this file because this file is very much filled with a lot of words, and it's very hard for me to find a needle in the haystack, right? So what I will do is I will go onto my dev tools here, and I will tap on this select widget mode. Okay, I will tap on this and enable this. So now it's enabled, right? Now I will go to my emulator and I will tap on this 10 because I want to know where exactly this code is present, right? So I will tap on this 10, and as soon as I tap on this, VS Code will take me exactly to the code corresponding to this widget. Okay, so I will tap on 10. Okay, so you can see I tapped on 10 and it brought me exactly to my code. Okay, so likewise, if I want to go on the code of this floating action button with a plus icon, okay, so I will just click on this search again and I will tap on this, and again I'm being redirected to my increment. You can see icons.add. Okay, this is my floating action button. So these are few of the features which Chrome, which DevTools, Dart DevTools give you. Okay, so you have two options. One option is to do it from this Chrome window, right? And you can disable this by tapping it on again. So now this will get disabled. Okay, now it's disabled. Now it won't work anymore. So that was from Chrome. And if you want to use it from VS Code itself, then you have to again hit Command Shift P. Okay, and you have to tap on this inspect widget. Okay, so when you tap on this, it will again get activated, and you can again tap on a different button. Let's say I want to know this where this text is written, Flutter demo homepage. So I'll tap on this, and here it's written. This is my app bar, and this is the text. And this text is showing me data from widget.title. Okay, likewise. So where is my widget.title? Here is my title. This is my title. Okay, and this data is being shown here. So that's how you can debug your things, right? Okay, cool. So now let's come back to the presentation. So now we understood what are types of widgets and what are stateless and stateful. We entirely understood them, right? Now let's go and see what pubsec.yaml file is. So pubsec.yaml file actually contains all the packages you are using. Yeah, absolutely, Abhinav, you can use a real phone. You just have to connect your phone. So those people who don't have an emulator or have a low specification PC or computer, so it's a better thing to do debugging with the help of your phone, right? So you just have to connect your phone with a USB cable, and then you have to allow USB debugging from your developer console or developer option. So to enable developer option, you have to go inside your phone settings and tap on the build number multiple times until you become the developer. So as soon as you become the developer, you have to go inside your developer options, and there you will see an option for USB debugging. Okay, so you just have to enable it, and you'll be able to run your Flutter applications or on your Android phone. Okay. And remember, don't share that APK because that APK will be a big APK, technically called a fat APK because it's a debug APK. Okay. So if you're going to share it, it will be your 70 to 80 MB. Okay. So if whenever you're sharing APKs, make sure you share release APK instead of those fat APKs or debug APKs. All right. So we'll understand them in the coming detail or in the coming days as well. So not an issue. If you don't understand even the single bit of thing today, it's totally all right. It's totally perfect. That's how learning starts. All right. So pubsec.yaml file actually contains all the packages which we are using. So pubsec.yaml file is actually indentation prominent. That means you have to make sure the indentation is perfectly all right. If you're messing up the indentation, then you may receive multiple errors. So if you are downloading a package, so what is a package technically? For package, I have to go to a website called pub.dev. Yeah, Abhinav, Chrome debugging process will entirely work as well. Okay, it will work in the same way like it was working previously. Okay, so pub.dev actually contains all the packages. So packages are something which allows you to reuse someone else's code. So let's say there is a package called avatar. Okay, so this is a package called multi-avatar. Okay, so when you're developing a project or an application where you want to generate avatar for people, right? So you cannot just create a simple JPEG image. You want it to be created based upon something unique. Let's say you want to generate an avatar based upon their username. Okay, so you won't sit back and just create everything. Okay, this person has already created things for you. You just have to import this package, and you can use this to create avatars for yourself. Okay, so you can see there are different avatars available in this Google Meet as well. Some people have their images in the profile. Some people have their name's first letter. Let's say in case of Palak Bansal, we have F written. In case of Manavpreet, we have M written. So these can be considered terminally as a avatar, right? So this package actually allows you to do the same thing in case of your Flutter application. So it's very easy to install a package. You just have to copy. You just have to tap on this part. Okay, just copy this and come inside your PubSec YAML file and paste them below Cupertino icons, like in the same line. Okay, I will paste this and I will press Control S. You can see it's downloading a package for me, and the command for that is flutter pub get. So it's technically getting packages from pub. So that's why flutter pub get. Okay. So now this package is installed into my Flutter application. So that's the use of Flutter pubsec.yaml file, right? Okay. Okay, I think I already showed previously. Let's say you're creating an application, a game application, where you want to, reward a user. And when you're rewarding a user, you want some fancy confetti to be sprinkled around. Like whenever you win something, you see those big film stars or the movie shows, they contain sprinklers. Those sprinklers are called actually paper confettis. Okay. So this Flutter application actually allows you to sprinkle those confettis. So you can blast the stars, you can do this. So this entirely is in this Flutter package. So you can use this for your application as well. Okay, so this is the best use of package management profiles. So likewise, you can create your own. You can publish your own packages as well. Like this person, funbit.app and organization published it. Okay, so a good developer never creates something which has been already created. Okay, a good developer reuses thing. If you are a good developer, you should know that reusing thing is the best option. And given that the moving times, the very fast times, it's always a good option to use something which is already present. Because creating something on your own obviously will increase your knowledge stack, but it's a total waste of time. Okay, you should know how to use and reuse. Okay. Cool. Now let's get back to the presentation. We understood what pubsec.yaml file is. We understood pub.dev. What pub.dev is. This website, pub.dev, is the directory which contains all the packages for Dart and Flutter. All right. So likewise, there's a package called URL launcher. There's a package called battery, which allows you to gives you the information about how much battery is there inside your into your device. Okay. Flutter block actually allows you to, block is a state management system, a tool which allows you to manage states of the widgets. So we know stateful widgets have states. Okay, we'll deal with them. We'll learn. Okay, and geolocator gives you the exact location where you are right now. It gives you the coordinates, and you can save those coordinates based upon where the app is being used. All right. So there are thousands of packages, like ten thousands of packages you can use and check it out. Okay. So this was pub.dev. Now you want to know where documentation is, right? Where you can refer. So you have to go to flutter.dev, and there's this section called docs, and you can just click on get started and start experimenting. And there are also cookbooks available. Cookbooks are Google's own tutorials, which allows you to create applications and learn something new. Samples allows you to, it gives you the samples about different Flutter applications. Videos actually will redirect you to the YouTube channel and will also let you know about different courses. API docs will give you the knowledge about the API. Let's say there's an API which, let's say an API of floating action button. Okay, so this contains all the profiles, all the constructors that floating action button takes in use. Widgets catalog contains all the catalogs which are in Flutter. So let's say in our case, we used assets, images, icons, animation, Cupertino style. Cupertino style is actually the style adopted. It's a UI pattern which is being used by Apple. Okay, Apple ecosystem uses a certain user interface that's called Cupertino. Okay, Cupertino is actually a place in California. So like Apple names everything on the locations present in California. Similarly, this is also named on that. Okay. So Cupertino is actually a widget style. You can see Apple has these kind of user interfaces. For button, it is like this. For date picker, it's like this, right? So yeah, and Android phones basically have Material UI, but companies like what to say, OnePlus, Xiaomi. So they just, they change the UI accordingly. So yeah, but basically Google stresses upon material UI. So yeah, okay. Now project. So what happened is I had this sheet, right? I had this Google sheet with me. Google Sheets. Mm. Anyways, few of the people shared some projects with me, and few of the people did not give me enough permissions to access those Google Drive APKs. So I have their APKs installed here inside my Bluestacks. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 portfolios from the last TechDrill, right? So this was a portfolio of Shubhangini. Okay, Shubhangini actually created a portfolio. It's pretty good. So she added her bio and her name, and there's also a drawer where she has put her interests in. And there's a project grid, okay, and I think she's following up from a course by Google. Yeah, and here are her contact details. These contain URL launcher. So if I click on LinkedIn, it will redirect me to her LinkedIn, right? So it's a pretty good use case, right? I totally appreciate Shubhangini. Very good work. Okay. And then there's this person who created this music player application, but I think few of the assets got loaded up, or he was just trying, or she was just trying. So it's also a good thing. You people are experimenting. That's really awesome. So music player also good. I believe you are going to add some more functionality to this. Whoever the person who made this, actually, I don't have your name in the APK names, so I cannot recall who made this exactly.
Sir, I did, and I guess the image was from net only, but I don't know why it is not loading. It was loading fine right now.
Got it, got it. I understand. Not an issue, not an issue. We'll discuss them. I think you already wrote the issue that you had issue with the assets, right? I understand that. Thank you so much, Palak, for creating this. That's really good. And we have this application created by Mridul. Is Mridul here in the meeting? I think, yeah, Mridul is here. Okay. So Mridul created, he added his name and designation and the bio and email, username, etc., etc. Perfectly awesome. Very nicely dealt. And as a starter, very good project. And this was created by Shubham, and Shubham literally nailed it. He killed it because it was so awesome. I really loved his project, especially his bio. And he has added expanded tile to show his education, and you can verify his certificates right here. All the technical skills are added in a bar manner, and the languages here he's aware about, and the projects he has created. That's perfectly like very well curated, Shubham. Very proud of you. About me, he has added this beautiful bio. I totally loved reading this. Nice work. And his contact me profiles, LinkedIn, Twitter, GitHub, all URL launcher enabled. So yeah, that's so good. That's very much appreciated. And also, Varun also created a video. Varun actually did a lot of work, I think. He actually tried to add the authentication part using Firebase. Yeah. So he created this basic application which just allows you to add your details. You're first going to log it in to add your details. All right. And then based upon those details, you log in. All right. And then you see this good portfolio ready for you to go. So very, very good, Varun, very good. At least you try experimenting with Firebase. So that's a very good thing. And I'm so proud of you guys that you did work on this because people are appreciated for the things which they do in silence and with something they are passionate about. So I believe you guys are really interested and you have the same energy to go with. And yeah, so any more questions, any more reviews, any more I think we'll have to wrap this up now. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. What will happen when you are going to create stateless classes? Then it's perfectly awesome, to create widget methods or stateless. It's a good practice actually. And when you are dealing with multiple widgets, let's say you have created a custom progress indicator, okay, which just allows you to use it, and you want to use it for multiple places at multiple times. So you should actually go inside your directory. Like inside lib folder, we have services, we have views, okay. And if there is some widget which you are using again and again, right? So sorry, you should create a new directory called widgets, okay, and you will add your widgets here. So let's say I have this widget, which just okay. Let's name it widget circular. Let's just name it circular dot. Okay. So now here you can just import your material package, or just simply create a STL. Okay, and then import okay, um, okay. So now I want this to be used anywhere in my code. Then I will absolutely go inside my widgets and call this up, right? Similarly, if you have like you want your text to be of particular type, of a particular in particular font. Okay, I don't want my font in Arial. I want my font in Roboto or Montserrat. Okay, so for that I will create a particular theme. Okay, and I will write this theme inside my constants.dart file. So constant.dart file exactly deals with like what it says. It will contain all the constants which you're going to use in your code again and again. So that circular progress indicator might have been put inside this as well. But it's good to keep only properties and constants and widgets inside widgets directory. Okay, so similarly, it's good practice to go in that way. Yeah, any more? Yeah, absolutely. Abhinav, if you are going to use pre-built libs, our project will be bigger in size. Absolutely. So you can see right now the size of this project is around 433 MB, right? Now, what will happen if I type here flutter clean? Flutter clean actually cleans up our directory, okay? If I type flutter clean, so this has technically deleted my build folder, my Dart tool, my packages, my generated config. Now, if I go to my desktop and check the size, just a minute. Okay. Now you can see it is 691 KB. Okay. So yeah, you can see, so that build folder actually contains all the specification which the framework copies for us for the fast speed. Okay, you might have seen cases, okay. In case of Snapchat, you can see how fast Snapchat is. It is very fast, right? And if you look at the case of, let's say, Google Photos, okay. So Google Photos is pretty slow as compared to Snapchat, right? Why is it happening? Not because Google Photos has multiple data to fetch up. No, not because of that. It's because Snapchat, you look at the usage, the size usage. If you go and tap on Snapchat's size usage, you will see that Snapchat is consuming about 1 GB of your memory. While Google Photos absolutely takes around 2 to 300 MBs, right? So there are two things in computer science, right? If you want to make things faster, if you want to decrease your time complexity, absolutely caching. If you want to go faster, then you need bigger storage. And if you want to go with less storage, then you have to keep on, you have to You have to, the speed will get affected. So there are two things. One is time complexity, one is space complexity. So they are inversely proportional. If you want higher speed, then you have to give up on storage. Okay. And if you want a lower storage, then you have to give up on speed. So yeah, but there are multiple methods. There are multiple tools to deal with this. There are multiple ways to go with this, which brings you to an intermediate point of consuming things, which just keeps them in balance. Okay, so time complexity and space complexity. This is what the entire computer industry world deals with. That's why we have these many different algorithms based upon the specification, based upon the requirements. Okay, so you might be aware about this amazing movie called Interstellar. Yeah, absolutely, Raji. There's a movie called Interstellar. You people might have watched it or not, but there was this black hole animation which they created, and the black hole animation consumed terabytes of petabytes of data, and they used some cloud service provider like AWS and Google Cloud for that. So for generating that particular scene, it was very hefty for them to exactly create them. They had to load up so many VMs, so many extra infrastructure to just create that 12 seconds of animation. It's a famous animation. You guys should check it out. And it is considered to be the one of the most accurate animations all time in field of space, in field of denoting black holes. Okay. Yeah, Interstellar is such an amazing movie. It's an amazing movie. Like if you ask me if I have 3 hours of my life remaining, and if I want to watch anything, right? So I will absolutely watch Interstellar. Anyways, I hope today's session was good. JavaScript or Flutter, which one is better? Actually, it depends upon. See, right now what happens is Flutter has to transpile everything into JavaScript, and the JavaScript starts running up, right? Obviously, JavaScript will be faster as compared to Flutter because we are first writing code in Dart and then we are transpiling it to JavaScript. So there's one simple addition of processing added to Flutter side as compared to JavaScript side. So in that case, if we compare things, so there may be absolutely will be a small lag in things. But based upon betterment, if I'm talking about speed, then JavaScript will be obviously it is much native to web as compared to Flutter. So there's no transpilation involved. There's no third party. Yeah, Flutter actually gives you a better hold on UI, Rajiv. Absolutely, Flutter gives you very much hold because previously, in case of Android and different other platforms, you have to create XML files and you have to write each and every property. Like you write CSS files, right? So in CSS you write your properties, and in JS you write your code, and HTML you write the framework. So that's how web development works. In case of Flutter, you write UI in form of code. So Flutter gives you a better hold on UI. All right. Any more questions? Any more sharing? Any more experiences? All those people who were not able to submit the projects to me or did not give me access, I will check them out and let them know. Okay. So here we have Debug Console. Debug Console lets us know like what's happening in our application, and we have terminal. Similarly, we have output if you're outputting something, and these are the problems related to this. So right now it's telling me that run app is not defined because it's not getting any, uh, you know, any what to say reference to it. Okay. Okay, so this is the emulator. Those who cannot develop an emulator, they can absolutely develop with the help of their mobile phones, their Android phones. And if you have an iOS phone, then also you can develop using your Mac. Absolutely. Any more questions? Any more sharing? Any more complaints? Can we use existing? Okay, Anuj is asking to what MB the build size can be decreased or should be if it's just increase. build size actually keeps on increasing as much as you add the packages, Anuj. So if you add more packages, the build folder size will absolutely increase, but you should not worry about this. In my case, when I was developing a Dart project, in that case, I had like 100 to 200 Dart files, right? So the size went up to like 1.4 GB. But you should not worry about that, because absolutely you're not going to share or upload it anywhere. You have to just make sure that you have enough space to accommodate that photo onto your system. Okay. And then absolutely clean when you're building APK, make sure you clean that build folder as well, because it has some remaining sim links to that. So they need to be cleared. Okay. Can we use existing APIs of the web app to create Android app for existing web app? Another technology, the Angular. Yeah. You want to use existing APIs, and then you want to create a web application, an Android app for existing web app in other technology than Angular. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I haven't worked with Angular much now, but I think there should be a port system for that, and it's fairly common, I guess. Lilish, tell us about hot reload and hot restart. Okay, so let me just open up my code. Let me just get packages. So what happens is hot reload is something which just saves the state of your widgets. Okay, like say there was this counter app I was building, right? So whenever I was doing hot reload, the count was staying stable. It was not changing. But when I do hot restart, what will happen is it will destroy all the states of my Flutter application. It will destroy entire thing, and again the counter will start from 0. So hot reload. How much size difference in debug APK and release APK? Okay, so debug APK and release APK size it depends on the packages which you're using. Okay, so let's say I have an application which uses 30 packages and contains about 4 to 5 images stored into my assets folder. So it will obviously depend upon the asset size and the packages which just caching the data. Okay, so based upon that, debug size will also variate, and release APK size will entirely depend upon the asset size. Okay, so if you have 2 MB images stored, then 2 MB stored, 2 MB addition will be there into your release APK as well. But there is an option that you can minify your code. Okay, code minification means that you can compress your code so that it will be of lesser size and you can share them. Okay, so let's say if I'm creating a basic release APK, it will be of 21 MB. But if I create a minified APK, then it may be of 18 to 17 MB, depending upon the size. So those assets will also get compressed in that case, Abhinav. Okay. So there's minification in case of code. In case of iOS, also there's minification. So yeah. Which is better, Flutter or React Native? Actually, see, this is a very, very, common question. Like people do ask, like, what's better, React Native or Flutter? So that totally depends. See, a painter knows painting not because of the kind of paint brushes he uses. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So it's not upon like what's better, what's not. If you know painting, you can do it with any kind of brush. Okay, I think I answer your question, Navraj, because this debate will go on. And this debate is not something to be about constricting each other's thoughts. It's like use case, right? Like you have a software for developing 3D application called Blender. Okay. And you have different softwares like Maya 3D, Cinema 3D as well. So movies like Interstellar, they use Maya for Cinema 4D and Maya. Movies like Avengers Infinity War, they use Blender. So it's not like dono ka animation kharab hai ya dono people are concerned about what's good, what's not. It entirely depends upon the use case, depends upon the team which you are part of. If you ask today and you tell a company that I think we should go with Flutter, we should go with React Native, so they will just start finding people, okay, and they won't find much people with Flutter. So they will just get scared, okay, because see, everybody, every developer on this planet, let's say 90% of developer on this planet know JavaScript, because JavaScript is such an easy language. Easy language, when I talk about easy language, means easy to learn, easy to experiment, and if you're developing a particular module, it's very easy to go with, right? So if people know JavaScript, people know React. So it goes hand in hand. Does Flutter support multi-threading as in Java? So what happens is multi-threading actually, we can absolutely experiment with them. And if it's in Java, it's also in Flutter, because obviously with the help of method channel, you can multi-thread them. You can write specific code for them. You can create semaphores. You can create multiple foundations over them. So everything can be done with the method channel if you want to go use a specific code. So there are multiple applications which are in the market, like you might have heard of Dream 11. So Dream 11 runs on Flutter. Okay. So there is a showcase where you can showcase. Yeah, you can see Realtor.com and Google Assistant, Tencent, the company responsible for developing PUBG. Okay, so yeah, these all companies use eBay, Insight Timer, Grab, Google Stadia, Alibaba Group, Baidu, ByteDance, Dream11, Groupon. All these people have switched their applications using Flutter. Okay, so yeah, so you can see people are supporting it. People are going with the flow. People are accepting, right? You should know painting. You should not focus on the brushes. I have seen people like they work with React Native as well. They work with Flutter as well, but they don't have any points to say कि क्या अच्छा है कि क्या बुरा है, like what's good or what's bad. A genuine person who knows both the technology, he will not start comparing them to, because he knows like it's totally dependent upon the developer's mindset, his skill, and the amount of time, amount of projects he has created. Any more questions? Is there anyone who has like worked on a Flutter application and launched it? Is there anyone in the meet today? Thank you so much, Varun. Thank you so much who all joined today. I'm really happy that you guys are participating. You guys are approaching. Thank you so much, Pavni. Thank you so much, everybody. So I think we should wrap this work up. Countdown works. Yeah, Gopi Krishna. And there's just one single humble request from my side to everyone, that please stay safe, because all these things will these things will keep on happening. You just have to make sure that your parents are safe, you are safe, and just drink a lot of water, wear masks, have sanitizers. Just stay safe, all right? And if you have any more questions, then you can absolutely revert over to the Discord server and post your queries there. And if any more question, you can personally text me as well. All right. Thank you, Lailesh. Thank you, Asus 920 MX Gaming. Are you a gamer? Asus 920 MX Gaming. Yeah, Discord link will be, I think moderator will share you. Thank you, Lailesh. Thank you, Gopi. Thank you, Varun. Thank you, Navraj. Thank you, Rajiv. Thank you, everyone, for joining up.